Hey guys, welcome back to my Photoshop's Basics series. This is part 2 of the Photoshop Basics 101. If you weren't here for the first video, be sure to check that out. This is just an extension. And remember guys, this series is really for absolute beginners. So it's for somebody who has never even tried this program before. And I'm really starting from ground zero here. So next step, what I want to show you guys today is the transform tool. So the transform tool is basically a tool that you use to change the shape of an image or object. And you can bring this up using the Command T shortcut on a Mac or Control T. So first you want to select your layer and hit Command T or Control T. And you see this blue border will pop up. Click and drag to change the shape of your rectangle. You can also use this on the image layer by just selecting the image layer here, layer 1, hit Command T, and the same thing happens here. So you can change the size of this image. So in Adobe Photoshop 2021, they added a new feature where you have to hold down Shift to break the locked proportions of the image. So if you want to make this distort, then you have to hold down Shift and click and drag. But if you don't hold down Shift, the image still stays in proportion. So this is very handy in case you are afraid of accidentally changing the image. So today I want to show you another function of crop tool, which is basically you can use a crop tool to extend your working space. So Photoshop here has this great added advantage where it shows you how far you're extending the workspace. And I'm just going to extend it vertically a little bit. I use this quite often. I find it quite convenient, but it's not completely accurate. But it gets the job done. And so now that we extended our workspace, you can see that there's a checkerboard pattern behind our image. So this checkerboard pattern in Photoshop means that it's transparent. If it's white, that means the background is a white color. But if it's checkerboard, that means there is technically no digital information in this area. So what if we want to add a background color? Well, now this is going to bring us to our layers panel. I've introduced layers before in my previous video. They're very important in Photoshop, but the layers basically help you separate objects in when you're working. So to add a background, what you want to do is click this button here. This is the Add New Layer, and this immediately pops up above all your other layers, and we can title this Background. To title it, you can just double click on the name, and we're going to drag it beneath all our image layers. And to make this background a color, here is a shortcut, which is Shift Backspace, and this is a fill shortcut. So fill is going to fill this layer with a certain color. So the contents here, we are going to choose foreground color, which over here is blue. The foreground color refers to the color above these overlapping square. So here it's blue, and we're going to say blending mode is normal, opacity is 100, so that means it's not sheer, it's going to be 100% blue. So I'm just going to click OK. And there we have it. We have a blue background now. So because we extended our workspace, it's a good idea to check how big our image is now, or canvas size. So the difference between image size and canvas size, it's not a huge difference, but image size has the size of the resolution. Canvas size is really the size of your working space. So here our unit measurement is pixels, but you can pick whichever measurement you would like and it'll automatically convert. So if we choose centimeters, I see that the width of our working space right now is 10 and the height is 11.98. So maybe let's just round that out to a nice 12. And there we go. So if I were to print this on a sheet of paper that is 10 by 12, then it will fit perfectly. So what I'm doing here is using my move tool and moving this image up towards the top so that perhaps we can add some text underneath. Another way to move an image or an object is by selecting what you want to move, and you can actually just use the arrow keys to budge it. So when you budge your image, the increments are quite tiny depending on how big your canvas size is. And if you want to budge it by a larger increment, you can hold down Shift and arrow key. Let's say arrow key up, that'll move the image up. Arrow key right, it'll move the image right. Just move that back now. So this is very convenient if you just want to budge the text over a little bit or budge an image over a little bit without having to think about it. Previously, in the first video, I showed you guys how to add text to your Photoshop project. Today we are going to explore in more ways how we add text and some more text design options. So click on your text type tool, and I'm just going to click on my image here, and automatically you can tell my text is very big. So I'm going to Command A, which is select all, and I'm going to go over to my character panel here, which is a little a, and I'm going to change that to a size 30 text. And over here, I'm going to put this in the center. You see this little marker come up. That means it's going to be centered. And then I'm going to type a title here, maybe vintage poster. You can also change the color of the text by using the color picker. Also, if you want to make this italicized, you can also choose this option here. This will just bring this over, give it a little bit more flair if you like that. This is also an option to make your letters all caps. This font is already all caps, but if I were to type this in a different font, let's say Bodini, and I wanted the type to be all caps, a quick shortcut way is to just click this button here, and that will just automatically make this all caps. So in addition to this title here, I think we should add some subtext. So I'm going to bring up my type tool again. You can also use a shortcut T. Click anywhere on the image and begin typing. So I'm going to make this a smaller font because it's a subtext. Now make this in caps. For sale. Check out my shop. And as you can see, the subtext is quite far apart. So this option, this little window here lets you set the leading. So because my font type is at 20 points, maybe I want to change this to 30. And once that is changed, I can center this just by clicking and dragging. Another way to center your text on your composition is using the Align tool. So you can select your text layer and select your background. And up here, if you have your Essentials windows open, this is your Align toolbar. So these icons represent the way you want to align your layers. If I want to align my horizontal centers, it will just center everything. If I want to align them to the right, it will move things towards the right or left, vice versa. So I want these to be centered today. But if I were to want my text to be on the right, I can also open up the paragraph window and select right. So now that my text is aligned to the right. I also want this aligned perhaps to the right of my image. So I can also choose my align, go up to my align toolbar here and align left edges. But I think it looks better in the center, so I'm just going to center this and center my text. Another thing I forgot to mention is with the transform tool, you can also find the tool through the edit menu up at the top. So first you want to select your layer, which is the image layer, layer 1, and you could go to edit, and the transform tool is right here where transform is, and you can scale, and it'll just bring up the blue borders again, and you can just freely transform how you want to. Enter. That is just in case you forget the shortcut, but I find that the more you use Photoshop, the shortcuts just become almost automatic memory. Okay, so today we covered the Align toolbar as well as the Transform tool, and we learned a little bit more about layers and transparency and color. So stay tuned for the next video where I will show you some more things. And let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to comment. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you soon.